Elizabeth Sterling had everything: a beautiful home, perfect children, and a secret she never admitted anyone. She trusted no one. When her new nanny, Keisha Jones, seemed too good to be true, Liz decided to prove it. One morning, she had 3 crisp $100 bills inside a mitten, aimed a hidden camera, and waited not to see honesty but to catch betrayal. But what Keisha did next would break Liz's heart and change her forever. Before we begin, do you think Liz went too far? Tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. Elizabeth Liz Sterling lived a life of polished anxiety in her sprawling Manhattan brownstone. Her life was defined by control, especially since the arrival of her twin toddlers, Ethan and Oliver. Liz was a successful magazine editor, but her true obsession was guarding the sanctity of her home. After a disappointing series of nannies, one who stole wine, another who spent hours on the phone, Liz had developed a deep, corrosive distrust of anyone she hired to care for her children. Her husband, Daniel, urged patience, but Liz was convinced she had to find the true colors of any potential caretaker herself. This month, she hired Keisha Jones. Keisha was a breath of fresh air, a vibrant 22-year-old black woman from Brooklyn. She was calm, excellent with the boys, and seemed genuinely invested in their chaotic little world. Liz watched her like a hawk, meticulously noting every movement, every text message, and every time she went to the kitchen. Keisha was too good, too perfect. Liz was certain it was a facade. Liz needed proof. She decided to set a trap. Liz chose her moment carefully. It was Friday. Daniel was at the office, and Liz had a mandatory all-day editorial meeting, a lie she sold to Keisha. She selected a high-traffic area that only Keisha would be cleaning. The small, ornate antique chest in the foyer used to store the boys' outdoor scarves and mittens. Liz retrieved 3 crisp $100 bills. She folded them carelessly and tucked them into a side pocket of a bulky, neon green mitten belonging to Ethan, then crammed the mitten back into the chest. The instructions she left for Keisha were specific. Please organize and clean the contents of the foyer chest. It's overflowing and sticky. Liz walked out, pretending to head to her meeting. Instead, she drove around a corner, parked, and pulled up the live feed from a new security camera she had discreetly installed, angled perfectly at the foyer chest. Her heart pounded, a toxic mix of guilt and anticipation. If Keisha takes it, I have my proof, Liz thought, already composing the termination email. Keisha started her day as usual. She made the boys breakfast, read them a story, and then, around 10 a.m., she addressed the chaos of the foyer chest. Liz watched the tiny screen in her car with clinical detachment. Keisha pulled out everything: mittens, scarves, a dozen odd gloves, and a few stray crayons. She meticulously wiped down the dusty interior of the chest. Then, she picked up Ethan's neon green mitten and started to shake out the contents. The $300 bills fluttered onto the polished hardwood floor. Liz held her breath. Here it comes. Keisha stared at the cash for a long moment, her face unreadable on the screen. She reached down and picked up the money. Liz felt a cold wave of indignation wash over her. I knew it. She was already reaching for her phone to drive back and confront her. But Keisha didn't pocket the money. She smoothed out the 3 bills carefully, stacking them neatly. She then walked into the kitchen, grabbed a small notepad and a pen from the drawer, and returned to the foyer. She placed the $300 bills and the note on the center of the chest lid. Liz zoomed in on the note. It was written in Keisha's neat script. It didn't say, "Found this cash." It said, "Mrs. Sterling, I found 3 $100 bills in the chest. I didn't want the boys to lose it or draw on it, so I left it here for you. P.S. We are out of blueberries for the smoothie you like." She hadn't just reported the money. She had treated it like a potential hazard to the children, something to be secured and returned immediately. And then she added a perfectly mundane note about blueberries. Liz sat in her quiet car, staring at the screen. The vindication was gone, replaced by a sudden violent wave of shame. She hadn't seen a thief. She had seen a professional, honest young woman treating her money with more respect than Liz had shown Keisha's character. She realized the truth. The trap wasn't testing Keisha. It was testing Liz's own broken faith in humanity. Liz looked at Keisha, who was now back in the living room, reading animatedly to the twins. Keisha was laughing, truly laughing, a sound Liz rarely heard in her own stressful life. The laughter was authentic. The integrity was absolute. Liz pressed the button to end the recording. She wasn't angry. She was devastated, not by loss, but by her own cynical, ugly heart. The tears came fast and hot, bore the bitter realization that she was the one who was morally flawed, not the young woman she had hired. She started the car and drove home. Liz walked into the foyer, her eyes red, and found Keisha preparing the boys' lunch. "Keisha," Liz said, her voice wavering. Keisha turned, concerned. "Mrs. Sterling, is the meeting over already? Is everything okay?" Liz pointed to the chest, where the money and the note lay. "The money?" "I saw the note." Keisha smiled professionally. "Oh, yes. The boys loved to stuff things in there. I put it somewhere they couldn't reach." Liz took a shuddering breath. "Keisha, I have to tell you something. I put that money there. It was a test. I was testing you." The silence that followed was heavy and immediate. Keisha's face remained calm, but her eyes darkened slightly. She looked at Liz not with anger, but with profound disappointment that was worse than any accusation. "You thought I would steal from your children," Keisha stated quietly. "I am so sorry," Liz whispered, the tears returning. "I'm a terrible person. I'm broken. I've been burned before, and I let my own fear convince me that you were a liar and a thief. Please forgive me." Keisha looked at the powerful, successful white woman standing before her, weeping openly. She walked over, not to judge, but to comfort. "Mrs. Sterling," Keisha said softly, placing a gentle hand on Liz's arm. "You weren't testing me. You were testing yourself. And you found out that your home is safe, but your heart needs fixing." Liz Sterling learned that day that true wealth isn't in what you protect, but in the trust you extend. She doubled Keisha's salary, deleted the hidden camera footage, and began the long, quiet process of rebuilding her faith in humanity, starting with a bright, honest young woman who taught her a painful lesson about integrity. Stories like this remind us how powerful honesty can be. Share your thoughts or a similar experience in the comments.